RV Capital Talks brought to you by Dicor, at the core of everything you do. Hey, welcome to RV Capital Talk. I'm Andy McCaskey from RV&N TV and introducing Sherman Goldenberg, host of the show.
Thank you, Andy. We're here today with Bob Wheeler, President and CEO of Airstream, Inc. Welcome, Bob.
Morning, fellas.
You know, I noticed that at all the clips I read quickly last night and this morning, every journalist calls the Airstream the iconic Airstream. I'm reminded of the fact that that a lot of journalists need new vocabulary and that they copy each other, but also that it really here in 2012 is still the Airstream is the Airstream. It's the trendsetter that it was going back to 1929. Very much occupies a niche of its own in the American market, does it not?
It really does, and over 81 years, that iconic, there's really no other word for it, that iconic silver bullet shell has established itself in the minds of people as the ultimate tool for travel and outdoor adventure. We're very happy to be in that position and do everything we can to maintain it.
Yeah, well, I understand that you're having some outdoor adventures. At least you don't have tornado warnings this year.
Yeah, we actually, this week we have a big rally at the plant called Palooza. There's about 200 trailers and motorhomes out here in the back 40, and it's a great event. It's a lot of fun. People are really here to have a good time, and it's a fun event for everyone, both here at the company and those that come visit.
We wanted to address your dealer meeting held May 2021 in Nashville, and you know, we posted, of course, something on it from you on RVbusiness.com. But you know, we have a product to talk about, an Airstream International Sterling Edition. Why don't we go there first? Tell us about that.
Well, the Sterling Edition is our latest attempt to really push the design envelope. Airstream has a right and a responsibility, I think, to now and then swing for the fences. And the last time we did something this dramatic was about 10 years ago. It created a tremendous amount of buzz for the company. It helped establish us as the darling of the design press and attracted a whole new customer base, a whole new psychographic to the Airstream brand. And then that carried over into the mainstream products and helped draw more people into the product. So we're trying to recreate that dynamic, capture lightning in a bottle twice, if you will. So we took the guy we've worked with in the past, Christopher Deem, a very talented architect from San Francisco, and asked him to really push the envelope, not to feel restrained by some of the stuff we've done in the past. And the Sterling's the result. Now it's going to be a little polarizing. Not everyone's going to like it, but we think it's going to have the same kind of effect that the original product that we did with Chris back in '02 had. And the early results look very good.
It's got an unusual looking flooring, not your regular RV.
No, and maybe not a lot of what we do could be considered regular RV, right or wrong.
Good point.
But the violet floor, and there's also a yellow floor version, which is also pretty striking. This is the one with the violet floors. Chris Deem described as punk rock, and I think that's a pretty accurate description.
Well, that seems to map really well on, I guess you would say, whether it's new or used, you attract sometimes a pretty artistic kind of audience, or a little bit different consumer than regular, maybe other RV brands.
What are you saying, Andy? What are you saying? That they're unusual, the Airstream buyer?
Well, I think you're both right. We typically don't attract a buyer that's just looking for an RV. There's plenty of great products out there to meet that need. The Airstream buyer, they're drawn to the outdoors, they love outdoor adventure, but they want to do it in a certain sense of style and iconic design that meets their personal taste. And that could be somebody in their 20s, and as you mentioned, Andy, they tend to be drawn maybe more to the vintage trailers, and there's plenty of those out there. Somebody in their 20s to somebody in their 70s, somebody in their 80s. It's more of a psychographic than a demographic, but that's our core customer.
I want to touch on a couple of things on the business side that were addressed at your dealer meeting. But first, I think we better go to a break, huh?
Let's take a break, and we'll be back after this.
RV Capital Talks brought to you by the Dicor Corporation. Dicor Corporation is 4 specialized companies serving the RV industry. Dicor Products, United Shade, Seal Design, and Vixen Composites. Whether it's RV wheels, walls, shades, seals, or other specialty products, Dicor Corporation is at the core of everything you do.
Well, you know, we could talk about some of the aspects of your consumers and the things that they're looking at, but I think Sherman has a couple other business-oriented things we wanted to emphasize here.
Well,
Sure.
we noticed in your release, Bob, that you know, your dealer, I guess your dealer council, and you had some earnest discussions about it at your dealer meeting. Tell us about that.
The dealer council is something I think it's probably not unique in the industry, but it's not something I typically have seen. We take our top 12 or so dealers, we get in a room, roundtable discussion, and it's not a one-way presentation about what we're doing. It's a real back and forth about what we've done, what we're planning to do. We vote on certain things with the dealers. It's a it's a lively debate. And as we've done these over the years, the dealers, knowing the format, they get more and more engaged. We have better and better discussions, and this year certainly set the high water mark. We come out of this with a real understanding of what our top dealers need, and what all our dealers need to drive their business, what we can do to help support, drive retails, help product and inventory turns, drive leads to them. It's probably the best 8 hours we spend all year in terms of understanding what the needs of the market are.
Among the things you talked about is increasing support of dealer and dealer operations from corporate.
Yeah, we're looking at a whole suite of tools to help our dealers, whether it's marketing and advertising support, providing billboard templates and ad slicks and web design and mailer design, to lead management tools, CRM tools, to enhance training for service and sales personnel, point of purchase display items so that they can create a kind of an Airstream boutique within their store, so that the Airstream customer coming in can get their dose of Airstream love. All of those things are focused on helping increase the conversion rate. We want more people who come through the door to look at an Airstream to actually pull the trigger and buy one.
Business in general, not to the perfect world, not compared to where in your dreams, but in a realistic sense, how is business there in Jackson Center right now for Airstream?
It's good. It's I think our recovery has followed the industry fairly closely. It's been slow and steady. We've been working 36 hours here. We're just going back to 40 hours now, kind of as we speak. We're very happy about that. We've been very cautious. We've been adding new dealers in the right markets where we have open spots, and not getting too far out over our skis. But the dealers' opinions and optimism at the meeting was very, very gratifying. They feel we're stepping into a good year. I think the revised forecasts that Dr. Curtin came out with reflect what our dealers are saying as well. And you know, consumer confidence is pretty key for the Airstream buyer, so we hope that that holds up. But right now, it's cautious optimism, I would say, is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, and as we would say, no interview would be complete without asking or congratulating you on the performance of the Interstate. What do you think is the thing that's giving that so much appeal?
The Interstate Class B
the Class B unit that you offer.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. We're very proud of the fact that it was the best-selling Class B motorhome in 2011. Which is a bit unusual for a product at its price point with its premium nature. But I think those are the things, frankly, that are making it so successful. We didn't take the approach of race to the bottom on price and decontenting. We went the other way. It's the premium materials. We checked every box on the chassis, and we've discovered a whole new customer. They're not an RV buyer. You'd never see them at your dealership or at an RV show. but they're drawn to the product. They're a premium buyer. That Mercedes-Benz badging and brand association certainly helps and fits well with Airstream. We've tapped into a new market that's less about Class B motorhome shopper and more about a premium buyer that wants something to enhance their luxury travel experience.
What's a rough retail? What's a guy going to generally wind up paying at a dealership for an Interstate?
Well, MSRP runs between 130 and 140 depending on options and model. So, it's but the value for that money I think is there, and the dealers certainly understand it, and the retail customers are understanding that value equation as well.
It's certainly a gorgeous, motorhome.
Absolutely, and also proves that they're viable products at all sorts of price value points across the spectrum.
Yeah, and if you look at the outside, we've taken a very high-end automotive treatment approach. We don't splash a lot of graphics and tape across it. That the buyer for this product wants something that looks like their S-Class Mercedes, and we've tried to take that approach inside and out.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, it is interesting the low level of exterior so-called graphics. There's some companies over the years that have made that their calling card. Not a lot of them. I remember Barth kind of set a pace of a
Right.
real clean exterior, but it was more the exception than the rule.
Yeah, I think there's a reason those flashy graphics have developed over the years. Customers seem to like them, but the buyer for this Class B Interstate, they're a little different. They want something understated, not too ostentatious. That probably their favorite accessory on the outside is that Mercedes-Benz badge in the front and the back. That adds a lot of value.
So at that, I see we're at 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Andy, why don't we thank Bob for joining us today, and why don't you sign us off?
Well, I think so. Bob, any final words that of wisdom here for the remainder of 2012?
Well, how much time do I have? I guess
38 seconds.
We think it's going to be a great year. We've got lots of interest from foreign markets, which is a pretty unique position for us. We're exploring, but even here domestically, we expect to have a record year this year, and we look at 2013 as being no exception to our growth. We're very upbeat.
Excellent. Hey, thanks very much for joining us today, Bob, and also thanks to you for joining us. Catch us next time on RV Capital Talk.
Thank you, Bob.